This is Philosophy for Chads, and today I'm going to talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Machine learning, a form of artificial intelligence. I think that there is a colossal lie that's being perpetuated about machine learning, and I think it's time to set the facts straight. There is a certain myth about artificial intelligence, which is very simply put, that it's going to create an artificial general intelligence. There is a certain myth to artificial intelligence that it will create some sort of thinking machine that surpasses and gets rid of human beings. This is a myth that is very salient in San Francisco, at least was in 2019, where software engineers at, for instance, Google would get together and talk about how can we create AI ethically. If you go to Google's webpage for their Google AI project today, they have all sorts of advertisements about how it's going to be ethical and exciting and make your life better and get rid of labor altogether. The myth is actually very old. There are ideas like the golem or the homunculus or various disembodied intelligences all the way back to the Greeks. I believe Hephaestus created sorts of robots to run his forge. The fact is, the myth is old, it's salient, and it affects humans today. Myths are not lies. It is not a lie to say that we are fascinated by the idea of the possibility of a disembodied intelligence. In fact, it's not even contentious. Christians actually believe in disembodied intelligences in the forms of angels, demons, and so on. Pagans believe in it. Shinto believe in it. The idea of a disembodied intelligence is a very natural human thing to do. If you really think about the givenness of your existence, the fact is that there is a complexity in nature, in the ecology, in, if you believe in a monotheistic God, intercessions in history and the rules of nature. And it's the most obvious thing to you if you have a sort of religious sense. But of course, we live in an atheistic era, and such a thing is actually quite rare. However, through what Carl Jung would call autochthonous revival, human beings cannot help but believe in some sort of disembodied intelligence. For the modern man in search of a soul, specifically the San Francisco man, it's AI. We should give that to them. The lie comes in when the New York Times, very atheistically, insists that there's actually nothing to artificial intelligence whatsoever, that the myth is a fabrication of big tech colossi such as Facebook, Google, and Amazon, and that it is a mere reification of power relations, relations of inequality, systemic injustice, the usual culprits. Technology in general seems to accumulate capital, reify existing unequal power relations, and so on. There's nothing special about artificial intelligence in this regard, and the New York Times should believe that. If they really believe that all there is to AI is friggin' statistical sampling algorithms, deep neural nets that are ultimately deterministic modes of sampling a corpus and training weights on a digraph, then there should be no magic to it. It should be no different from any other technology whatsoever, and all they're really doing is ranting against technology itself. They're in good company. They can go right to Ted Kaczynski. I hear he responds to letters. The fact is, the myth means something special, and the lie does not do justice to that. Artificial intelligence is a source of inspiration for great minds of our generation, and also Elon Musk and Yuval Noah Harari. They have come up with ideas like digital antibodies, or uploading one's consciousness, which, while kind of asinine, though digital antibodies I think makes a very good point, do ask us to seriously reflect in a way that things like communion or confession can't in our atheistic era. They ask us to reflect on what we would like it to be like to be a conscious being. That is a very hard question to even be asked, and we have to do it covertly. Buying into the lie is further ignorance of this question, and, frankly, a form of alienation. If you think that human beings are terrified of artificial intelligence now, if you think that staying up late after binging 4chan.org and reading about Nick Land's strange hallucinations from his acid trip in Shanghai are scary, you should go back to John Calvin's Geneva. The fact is that fear of an all-knowing intelligence that can predetermine your fate is very old and indeed the foundational myth of the last 500 or 600 years of Western civilization. It has driven people to commit far worse atrocities than creating OpenAI. It's driven people to, for instance, create Quakerism. Disgusting. The fact is, this is a powerful myth. It is very much in the Western tradition, and it is a source of inspiration that we ought to cherish. Ignoring it reduces human beings to flesh and blood and putrid pride. Let's not do that.